So let us start with an important question. So what motivates people to conduct research? So bakit nga ba may mga researchers na nagsisikap gumawa ng studies? Well, according to Kothari, may iba't ibang reasons. Although hindi to complete list, pero these are the some common motivations. First, to obtain a research degree. Well, this is a requirement in all colleges and postgraduate studies. So may academic requirement and benefits kasama dito. Second, to deal with real-world problems. So sometimes research begins dahil may mga unsolved problems sa community or in our society. So halimbawa, paano nyo mariresolve ang issue ng cyberbullying sa mga estudyante? Third, intellectual pleasure. Some researchers enjoy solving problems or being creative. Fourth, to offer service to the society. So, say, psychology researchers, nagkakaroon ng guide sa mental health program. And lastly, to get respectability. So, research can build reputation, credibility, and respect in the professional and academic community. So, kaya, class, tandaan natin na yung research, hindi ito just for compliance. It can be personally meaningful and socially beneficial. So, approaches in research. So, let us talk the three common approaches: qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods. Qualitative, this focuses on quality, meaning it explains why and people think, feel, or act. So, ginagamit kapag gusto nating maintindihan ang experiences, perceptions, o motivations ng mga tao. Quantitative, this focus on quantity. So, meaning, gaano karami, gaano katagal, ano ang level. So, usually, this one is structured. It uses numbers, statistics, and measurement to generate the result. Mixed method, ito yung combination ng dalawa. It integrates qualitative insights and quantitative measurements. Kung gusto nating aralin yung stress ng students, qualitative approach would ask, how do students describe their stress? So quantitative approach would measure how many students experience high stress and to what degree. So mixed methods would combine both. Quantitative research aims to measure and quantify. Ito yung klase ng research na may question tulad ng how long, how many, and to what degree. So, ang example natin dito, ilan ang nakakaranas ng depression symptoms sa second year students? Or gaano kalala ang level ng anxiety nila before taking the examination. So, ang goal dito is to test hypothesis by collecting, analyzing, and interpreting numbers-based data. So, this approach follows a logical and systematic process rooted in empiricism and positivism. So, kapag gusto mong mag-measure or mag-generalize ng larger population, or i-test if your idea is true, what you have to do, you have to use quantitative research. So here are the main features of quantitative research. So tandaan kasi lagi itong lumalabas sa examination. So standardized instruments, gumagamit ng surveys, tests, structural questionnaires para reliable ang data. Large sample sizes, mas marami ang participants, mas generalizable ang findings. High reliability, kasi standardized at numerical, so madaling i-test ulit. Clear objectives. Each step is guided by specific research questions and hypotheses. Pre-plan design, hindi spontaneous. Bago mag-data collection, nakaayos na lahat ng procedures. So for example, kapag nag-aaral tayo ng exam, performance at stress, gagawa muna tayo ng checklist ng stress symptoms. saka tayo kukuha ng scores from a large group of students. So, hindi basta-basta yung narrative or open-ended ang answers. So, finally, let's have an overview ng quantitative research. It relies on statistics, reasoning, and logic. Uses numerical data, often collected with tools like questionnaires. Presents data in non-textual forms, tables, charts, and graphs para clear at saka madali nating ma-interpret. Aims to identify patterns and builds models. So, ibig sabihin, gusto nating makakita kung paano nagko-connect ang variables to explain behavior or yung phenomenon. For example, if we are doing a survey on the relationship between screen time and sleep quality, the data can be turned into a bar graph or scatter plot. Then, statistical models like correlation can help us see if more screen time is linked to less sleep. So remember, ang quantitative research is about measurement, numbers, and objectivity. So always grounded in a systematic setting. Tandaan natin, ang pagpili kung quantitative or qualitative research ay nakadepende sa ating research topic, yung problem at saka yung research questions. So once na pinili mo ang method, dun pa lang madedetermine ang design, yung instrument, participants, or sample, pati na rin kung paano i-analyze. According to Creswell, here are the main characteristics of quantitative research. So una, it describes a problem statement. So meaning, ipapakita nito kung bakit kailangan ma-explain ang relationship ng variables. So does stress affect exam performance? So second, use of literature review. So literature o mga naunang pag-aaral is very important kasi ito yung nagbibigay ng context, nagpapakita ng gaps at tumutulong sagutin yung mga research problems. Third, quantitative research has precise and measurable objectives. So dito pumapasok yung hypothesis, research questions at purpose statements na clear at saka testable. Fourth, researchers use numerical data collected from instruments. Instruments are tools like surveys, standardized tests, or checklists. Fifth, data are analyzed using statistics, from simple averages hanggang inferential tests like correlation or t-tests. Ito yung ginagamit para makita yung patterns, compare groups, or test relationships. So lastly, it should be objective and unbiased. So kailangan isang side lang ng truth, walang pinapanigan, kaya sinusunod yung standardized na protocols. So important note, quantitative research is numbers, measurable variables, systematic, and objective. So lagi itong rooted sa scientific method. In quantitative research, research problems usually deals with patterns and trends. So researchers want to know the common tendencies sa population. So for example, karamihan ba ng estudyante ay merong test anxiety? At kung meron, sino yung mas mataas? Lalaki ba or babae? So another focus is how variables affect one another. So remember, sa variables, these are attributes or characteristics that can be measured. So halimbawa, yung stress, ang ating independent variable. Exam score, yung dependent variable. So the researcher will investigate if changes in one can change in another variable. So also, yung literature review, it plays a big role here. Dahil dito, nagpapakita ang importance ng study. So they expected to justify bakit significant the problem. by connecting the chosen topic with past research findings. So, mas maganda talaga na meron tayong mga makuhang strong evidence from our literature. To get measurable data, researchers must ask specific and limited questions, hindi broad, kundi focus lang sa particular na variables. So, kailangan gumamit natin ng standardized research instrument para makuha yung numbers. So, halimbawa, yung standardized test, yung survey, rating scale, lahat ito may options para sa structured responses. Kaya numerical yung lumalabas. Then, the data are analyzed using statistics. Pwedeng group comparison. Halimbawa, are male students more stressed than female students? Or next one, pwede ring relationship test. So, how is screen time related to sleep quality? So, findings are compared through predictions and previous researches para makita kung consistent ba ang results o merong mga bagong insights. Ngayon, let's look at the general objectives of quantitative research. Exploratory or formulative research. Ito ay para makilala at ma-explore ang isang bagong phenomenon. So halimbawa, studying the new trend of AI na ginagamit ng mga estudyante. Descriptive research para i-describe ang population, group, or situation. So halimbawa, what percentage of students experience insomnia during exam week? So in short, ang quantitative research, it seeks to answer, or rather systematic answer to problems using scientific tools and statistical analysis. So there are main four types of quanti research. So experimental, correlational, descriptive, and causal comparative or quasi-experimental research. So let's go through each one in detail. Experimental research. This is the most rigorous type. So dito, merong hypothesis at variables na minomodify or kinokontrol ng researcher. Yung independent variable, the IV, the factor that you manipulate. So example, yung study technique. Dependent variable, the DV, or the outcome you measure. Example, test score. So the researchers test if changes in IV directly cause changes in DV. So this is done in controlled environments with randomization and group comparisons. For the steps, identify the variables and their relations. Form testable predictions. Manipulate IV carefully to ensure external validity. Ensure internal validity through proper controls, randomization, and design methods. Example, assigning Group A to mindfulness training and Group B to none. Then, comparing their stress scores before taking the exam. So, in correlation designs, researchers do not manipulate variables. They simply measure the relationship. Positive correlation. So, as one increases, the other also increases. So, more study time, higher grades. The negative correlation, as one increases, the other decreases. Higher stress, lower sleep quality. Zero correlation, edi no relationship at all. So, tandaan natin, correlation is not equal to causation. So, just because two things are related, it doesn't mean one causes the other. Descriptive research answers what, where, and when. Hindi mo na why. So the purpose is to describe population characteristics the situations or phenomena. So example methods, observational research, watching participants in natural setting, case studies, detailed analysis of an individual or group, surveys, collecting data from a large group through questionnaires. Descriptive research often uses graphs and charts because the brain processes summarized patterns better than raw numbers. It is also naturalistic, observing without manipulating the variables. Types of descriptive research, case study, observation, survey. This is either cross-sectional or longitudinal. Case study focuses on one case, pwedeng individual, family, or group. Good for deeper understanding but limited sa generalization. So, multiple case studies give stronger evidence dahil may mga comparison. Observation, this can be quantitative if recorded numerically. So, naturalistic observation, pinapanood yung participants in the real world. It increases ecological validity or real-world relevance of findings. Surveys uses standardized questionnaires for large populations. Survey research can be cross-sectional or longitudinal. So example, a longitudinal student wellness survey following the same batch from second year hanggang graduation to track mental health changes. So here, finally, the causal comparative research. It tries to address cause and effect relationships. Pero, hindi ito kasing rigid ng experiment. Why? Because there is no random assignment to groups. Groups are often pre-existing. Halimbawa, male versus female, smokers versus non-smokers. So the IV is not manipulated but simply observed. So halimbawa ulit, if we want to compare academic performance of working versus non-working students, we cannot randomly assign kung sino ang magtatrabaho at hindi. Kasi that is unethical and unrealistic. Pero we can measure their differences and infer possible causes. So however, researchers must be careful since there might be unknown factors influencing the results. So quantitative research has many forms, from descriptive to correlational up to experimental design. But all are focused on numbers, measurable variables, and systematic statistical analysis. In research, a problem statement is clear and concise declaration of an issue or challenge that needs to be studied. So according to Bryman, it highlights the source of the problem, the gaps in knowledge, or the questions that need answers. Purpose of the problem statement, it shows why the topic is important, states the purpose of the study, gives a framework for presenting the results. In quantitative research, the problem statement should measure variables like age, stress level, or GPA, looks at effects of one variable on another, and tests theories and applied results to a larger population. According to Creswell, the problem statement should include the research topic, the research problem itself, supporting evidence from past studies, the research gap or what is still unknown and unstudied, the audience or group who will benefit. So kung alam niyo na itong 5 elements, mas madali nating intindihin yung introduction part ng kahit anong research project. Now, after identifying the problem, the next step is to define the research objectives. Objectives, it shows what the researcher wants to achieve. So they are based directly on the problem statement. So they guide the research design, data collection, and analysis. The characteristics of quantitative objectives, it should be concise, maikli at direkta, narrow, specific or hindi broad, measurable, quantifiable using numbers. Uh, Now, what's the difference between aims and objective? Kapag aims, broad goal. Kapag naman objective, step-by-step actions to achieve the aim. Objectives must be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. The purpose of statement is a single, direct sentence that explains what the research is about. And it usually starts with the purpose of this study is. So dito, sinasama yung independent variable, dependent variable, the participants or sample, and the keywords like relate, compare, describe to show the type of relationships being tested. So the purpose of this study is to compare the academic performance of working and non-working psychology students. So remember, the purpose comes from the problem statement and it connects to the objectives. It answers, why am I doing this research? Theoretical and conceptual framework. So in quantitative research, theories are very important. So ano nga ba to? So theoretical framework, these are established theories that explain or predict the relationship between variables. So halimbawa yung mga theory ni Erikson, ni Bandura. And then the conceptual framework, this is the researcher's version or model. This one is derived from the theory but focus on the specific research problem. So halimbawa, if the theory states that peer groups influence behavior, your conceptual framework now could focus specifically on the peer pressure. Take note, the conceptual framework comes from the theoretical framework and acts as the foundation of your study design. Research questions. Research questions make the purpose statement more specific. So good quantitative questions should be include the sample. So sino nga ba yung mga kasamang participants? The variables, the independent and dependent variable. Research design, whether it's comparison, relationship, or descriptive. So the kinds of research questions, the first one is the descriptive question. Start with what? So what is the average GPA of psychology students? Next, relationship questions. Examines the links between variables. So is there a relationship between stress and sleep quality? Third, comparison questions. Look for group differences. So do male and female students differ in test anxiety? So next one, so let's define hypothesis. So hypothesis is a testable prediction about the relationship between or among variables. Hypothesis is more than a guess. It must be based on theory and prior research. Variables are stated in sequence. The independent variable, dependent variable, and control variable, if any. Types of hypothesis. Null hypothesis predicts no effect or no relationship. Example, there's no difference in stress levels between male and female students. Alternative hypothesis, this one predicts that there is a relationship or difference. Example, male students have higher stress levels than female students. So researchers test the null hypothesis and if rejected, accept the alternative. So ang literature review is the backbone of your study. So this is the part where you collect, you summarize, and you evaluate previous research. So the purpose of literature, clarify and focus the research problem, help in building your research methodology, expand your knowledge of the topic, contextualize or connect your study to previous findings. Steps: search for papers, books, or reports. Evaluate the credibility and relevance of sources. Identify gaps in knowledge, organize structured summary, and write clearly and objectively. So tandaan natin, ang isang magandang literature review, hindi lang basta summary. It also analyzes and critiques the past research to justify why your study is needed. Research design is the blueprint of your study, parang plan or skeleton. And this includes how to collect data, how to analyze data, and how to report results. So the key concepts here: variables, or the things that vary, the independent variable, and the cause or the predictor. The dependent variable, the effect or outcome. Quantitative variables, measures in numbers. Discrete, countable, example, number of children. Continuous, measurable, and divisible, time, height, or temperature. Next is the reliability and validity. So reliability is the consistency if repeated or same results. Validity, this is the accuracy. So does it really measure what it should be measured? The types of reliability: test, retest, inter-rater, internal consistency. Types of validity: construct, content, and criterion. In research, we cannot study the entire population, so we use samples. So sampling aims to select a small group that accurately represents the larger group. So these are the types of sampling methods. Random, or the probability. So everyone has an equal chance. So ang example na ginagamit yung fishbowl draw or computer generated. Next, non-random or non-probability. So this one is based on convenience or judgment, like quota sampling, accidental sampling, purposive, or snowball. Systematic or mixed sampling, this is the combination of both. So uses intervals and systematic selection. Larger and representative samples equals more reliable results that can be generated to the big population. So data collection is the process of gathering information using research tools like surveys, interviews, or observations. So the steps: define participants or sample, get necessary approvals of permits, choose type of data to collect, select instruments, conduct the data collection process. So once the data are collected, the next step is analyzing them. Organize the data, you code, you enter into the software like Jamovi. Descriptive analysis, summarizing using the mean, median, mode, frequency distribution, and variance. Inferential stat, to generate findings to the larger population, t-test, correlational, or regression. Interpret results and compare with predictions or hypotheses. Present using tables, graphs, and figures. Now, for this time, let us now differentiate descriptive versus inferential statistics. The descriptive statistics summarizes the data. So example, the average test score of the class is equal to 85. So this one includes distribution, central tendency, and variability. For the inferential, go beyond the sample. It generalized to population. So halimbawa, it using the sample test score to predict the average score of all the students. So remember, inferential statistics are require unbiased and random samples. So otherwise, conclusions are invalid. So finally, research does not end with data collection. So researchers must report findings. And a good quantitative report includes research problem and questions, data collection and analysis, statistical findings, unexpected issues during data collection, rationale for using certain tests, interpretation, tables, graphs. So in conclusion, include the summary of the findings, recommendations, limitations, and suggest for future research. So just always remember to write clearly, avoid bias or offensive language, and tailor it to the report, depending on the audience.